really walk. Kind of like waddles.
It's kind of weird that they.
Nah, that's
The
what
dog, yeah. People
It's
just
a
wander, as you've seen, like the doors are like kind of like open door policy here, so people just like kind of
Yeah, I
wander in.
basically met everyone on my way in.
No,
I
honestly,
came
I don't know
in,
who that
I went
was, like-
downstairs, and I was like, and then I went upstairs. By the time I got upstairs, it was locked. So
yeah, I know that lady was part of the candles, or there used to be this little unit that made bracelets or like arts and crafts for like at-risk youth, and then they would sell it, and that was kind of like their like, I don't know, after school like community service kind of thing or something along that line.
Nice.
So there's always kids in there making stuff. So she runs that. But there was Next Models, and they're moving out, so I don't mind putting them on blast here. But
Okay, what the hell?
Here we
What's
go.
going on?
one
Here
Saturday
we
we were here,
go.
we're all like hanging out, and they're the only ones that like they never have the door open or they're never there, right? So I just wanted to introduce myself. So a lady popped in. I was like, "Hey guys, like I'm your neighbor down the hall. Just wanted to say hi. I'm Ricky. Like we're actually in the middle of an interview. Do you mind like closing the door and like leaving?" I was like, "Oh, my bad."
What?
You're like, okay.
Honest mistake. They could have just been like, "Hey, nice to meet you. Cool. We're actually in the middle of
They
something."
kicked you out?
Yeah. I didn't even fully walk in. I just like popped my head and I was like, "Hey guys, like I'm Ricky down the hall," and it was just like rude.
I guess they're not a pal.
Yeah.
And Ricky was so excited when he moved in here because he saw that we got the
Molly.
space on model company next door.
Oh, yeah.
Ricky
Yeah.
was fired up about that one,
Heck
but I guess
yeah.
it didn't work out.
Guess it did not work out.
Yeah,
It did
we've had some like we're in, the office space we're in is a bit in flux right now. Like we have a new like landlord or owner or something, and it's a whole thing. Like
Yeah,
we really
got
got
it.
lucky with the space. A lot of people probably know this already. We found it on Kijiji.
Oh, no
When-
way.
Yeah, I was telling you before. We got it for our startup and for the podcast. We didn't really need it at the time because we were a remote startup and we couldn't really justify it with the podcast. We weren't making any money.
And we're back to not making any money.
Yeah, so we're kind of in a rock and a hard place here, but it worked out. We ended up making it work, whatever. And we found it for like a really good price. It was like I said on like the last page of Kijiji. We came and saw it. We got it, and
It
then
was
like
like a 24-hour thing. Like George found it, came to see it, called me. He was like, "You have to come see this now."
It's either going to be sick or you're going to be murdered.
yeah.
honestly, basically, like it was. The pictures made it look like a loft. Like it did it justice. So I was like, okay, probably cool. And then I walked in. I was like, okay, it feels like a creative space, which you can kind of tell. I guess a view of the CN Tower, and it's like it's nice and
Yeah.
open. It's quiet on weekends, so like when we host a podcast or when we have like, if we come here and drink after the park or we, before we go out.
After Sunday brunch.
Yeah, it's a good hosting space. There's not a lot like we don't get bothered much. But
Multifaceted.
yeah,
I should have brought a housewarming gift. I'm sorry.
I've been here.
Yeah, we've been here like
Waters.
year.
Yeah,
waters.
Honestly, yeah, you could.
I'll bring a 6-pack of beer next time.
No, we have beer. We have beer
Do we have
somewhere.
beer still?
Yeah, I think down on the bottom.
We used
Maybe
to
not
be here a
quite.
lot. We used to be here a lot more often because of the startup, but like now we're in here like once, twice, 3 times a week maybe, and we just like order what's needed. But then usually we have like full waters and coffee and everything off for our guests. We didn't this time. You got the short end of the
Wow.
stick. Yeah.
Well, it's been nice being here. I'm
I said
gonna,
I'm gonna politely go.
Yeah. But anyways, it's
it's nice. I like it. It's
a
got
good
some good
space.
vibes.
Yeah.
It does.
the
And it's
background.
cozy and it's home now,
It's
right? Like
great couch.
great
Love the
couch.
look
We
of this
got
couch.
The nice artwork. We got Eli's artwork done, and so it's just
Yeah. It's cool.
it's home
Yeah.
now. So now we have to bite the bullet and pay the 20% increase in our rent. And
yeah.
Yeah.
Now we don't even have a sponsor anymore. So it's like, ugh.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's a very expensive hobby right
Times
now.
are tough.
Yeah.
Very
Times
expensive
are
hobby.
tough.
Yeah. Anyways, we'll make do. It's been a long time since we caught up. Obviously.
I know.
Sorry, how do you guys know each other?
From like way back, like
Yeah.
grade 6 we met.
Who wants to tell a story?
Oh, you're really?
Oh, okay. Was there a
Am
big
I-
story here or something?
Am I the first ex-girlfriend on the pod?
Oh my god. Yeah,
Maybe.
yeah.
Am I?
From like grades literally 6. Like,
Yeah.
Did we?
Like,
yeah.
like
We've never had any exes
literally,
on.
yeah.
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 So
Honestly,
we,
you guys-
yeah,
you guys held hands,
we're
walked around
best
the-
friends. Yeah,
Yeah,
George
pretty
is the
much.
first one that first boy I ever kissed, held hands
Oh,
with.
I'm gonna turn red here now.
Wait,
Holy
you
shit.
kissed
we
the
went
girl
to
before Becca?
we went to graduation
No,
my
together.
God.
Never happened.
Yeah,
Never
yeah, that never happened. On the cheek, it was on the cheek.
yeah. No, but we go way back.
We go
Middle
way back.
school.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
Middle
poor-
school,
poor credit,
junior
Mississauga?
high. Junior high.
yeah, Mississauga, and then our families are close. Like
Yeah.
throughout the years, our dads remained golf buddies, and
Oh, no way.
yeah, so we've always like.
So there was like
Connected.
back
Yeah.
in like I guess junior high. It was junior high, right? 6, 7, 8. Gus junior
Mm-hmm.
high. The two of us and then Jackie were like kind of friends, which is interesting. They were like super athletic, and I was like the the little try-hard kid who wasn't super athletically built, but really had the heart. Fun fact, I won the Manager of the Year award. So I didn't win the Athlete of the Year. I won the Manager of the Year.
What grade did you win Manager of the Year?
I think grade 7. I still have it. It's on my shelf
Really?
still. Swear to God.
Bro,
I
it's
found it.
basically a
grade 6.
participation medal at this
Yeah,
point.
but I told you, every step of schooling, I made the teams. Like I still made the teams because of my commitment to like trying hard. Like I was a good team guy. Good motivator.
And like Giorgio's brought the jokes to the group. Our little
You have to be funny if you're fat, you know?
friend tree.
Okay, that's fair.
It's
That's
true.
fair.
But
No.
anyways, and I remember it was like, I think it was grade 7. We went to what's that camp that we all went to? Some leadership camp.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. And remember when we went to PEI on exchange?
Yes.
You guys went to PEI?
I
Yeah, we
told this
did it.
story once.
Tignish PEI. Shout
Yeah.
out to all of our friends there.
I didn't remember the name of the place.
Tignish.
Yeah. So we got chosen for
Yeah.
I was an overachiever. I was
We
an
were
overachiever.
leaders in our community.
Yeah. So we got we went to this camp, like the two of us, Jackie, and I think Ryan Bobby, I don't remember his last name. Ryan.
Yeah.
So like the four of us like did it. I was again the good like team player, team guy. But we went to that camp, but then we did the exchange too. But the exchange was bigger. There was like 10 kids, no? Like from our school that went
Yeah.
exchange.
Yeah.
So we went and lived in
10
like
to
PEI.
20.
Yeah. We went and lived in PEI in Tignish. I guess we like exchanged with these kids. So we each lived in someone's house. And then they came for a week, and then they came to our place for a week.
Which was a time.
Yeah.
We had pool parties.
Oh.
I don't
Almost
remember.
every
I really
day.
don't remember any
Pool
of this.
party, first time wearing a 2-piece.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
George and I held
Crazy.
hands. It was big.
Yeah,
Wild times.
The best thing I'll never forget though. I think I told you this story. The kid that I exchanged with, I don't even remember his name, but I remember he like religiously ate Reese's peanut butter cups breakfast.
I remember you telling I don't remember the billeting part, or the exchange.
Basically.
But I remember the peanut butter cup story.
Not peanut butter cup, like the Reese
Reese,
puff. Yeah.
yeah.
And when he came over, like my dad like can cook. And I can't remember if I prepped my dad because we went there first and they came here, but like my dad like made like nice meals, like what do you like? And he just like literally for a week for breakfast, lunch, and dinner had a Reese's Puffs cereal. My dad was
Your
like,
family
"Get this
did like
kid-"
a whole barbecue.
Your dad's probably
Remember when they were
cheesed.
here?
I don't remember this.
Wow.
I can barely remember like high school, so I can't go back to
George
Yeah.
just blacked it out
Yeah.
of his mind.
Great.
Yeah, tough times back then. Tough times.
That's cool.
So yeah,
You
and
guys
then like we
did that.
kind of
We
like
go way back.
stayed in touch through like high school, university, and everything. But then the last few years, we haven't really like seen each other much or talked
Yeah.
much. But
Where'd you go to school? Sorry.
So I went to high school at Lorne Park.
Okay.
And then I went to McMaster,
Okay, cool.
did my degree there, and then
What'd you
I did
take?
communications media.
Okay, I actually applied for that program.
No way.
Yeah.
What happened?
I went to Western. I did the MIT program.
I was-
Because that's the comparable to the MIT. Yeah.
Yeah, I looked at the MIT program.
I actually
too.
really like McMaster's campus. Like physically
Yes.
as a school, I thought McMaster was beautiful.
You know what? Hamilton gets a bad rep,
It does.
but
Disagree.
there's some
biggest Hamilton fan in the world.
Actually,
right
yeah,
here.
you are a weirdo
Yeah.
Hamilton guy. Yeah.
there's some really cool pockets of that city.
Yeah.
And then I also went to
Pest
Mohawk
Village.
College. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Bro, that's a W.
There's
This
some
one, I think
times
that's
there.
what they
Yeah.
do. It's like the top of the age.
Hamilton, I think we've talked about this actually pretty recently. I really like Hamilton. I don't know what it is about it. Why? Sorry, that's
said
a lie.
it's a blue
I
collar.
do know what it is about it.
Ancaster. I could see you in Ancaster.
Ancaster.
No, that's
Ancaster's
too far. I
hype.
can't do Ancaster.
Ancaster's hype.
Ancaster is, but it's nice though. Like,
It is.
Ancaster has, like, I'm not hating on Ancaster. Beautiful houses, great properties, all that. But I like Hamilton, like the
Yeah.
grungy part of Hamilton.
The dirty steel city.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know why it appeals to me so much. But like the blue collary, like Steel City, something about it to me feels like nostalgic, kind of romantic. I don't know why, but every time I'm down there, like I go for work or whatever, I drive through and I'm like, I could probably live here. And then I see like the crackheads on the street. I'm like, I can't.
Then you're like,
I don't think I can
never
live here right now.
mind.
Give it a couple of years.
Yeah, I couldn't do it either. We
We are.
in the middle of something.
Yeah, we need some time. We're just in the middle of something right now. Thank you. What like? This is
a crazy day today.
Interesting day today.
Yeah.
What's happening? Do you know
Yeah,
him?
we're good. We'll keep rolling. We're just like
okay.
just popping in. Like,
So for me in Hamilton, it was Dirty Dogs.
what is Dirty Dogs?
It's the country bar.
Okay, never.
Dirty
heard of it.
Dogs. Okay, I have to explain this
Okay.
this place to you. So it's two clubs in one. On
Okay.
the one side is the country, Dirty Dogs, dance on the bar, like coyote ugly to its core, mechanical bull, everything.
Okay.
And then there's a door that you literally walk through, and then that's Club 77, and it's like grunge bar, like rap music, like people grinding everywhere, just two separate worlds, all in one, and it's the best time
Only
of your
separated by one
university
door.
life. One door, yeah.
That's very
and they
interesting.
open it at a certain time, so you'll be texting me and like, what side are you on like a Saturday? I mean, back in the day when I was in university.
BBM, yeah.
Yeah,
BBM.
yeah.
'Cause you're-
BBM was
you're a
lighting
90,
up, and then
right?
you're like, the door's open, and then like shit went wild from there.
Okay.
It was a time.
Okay. I've never been. I can honestly say I've only been to party once. I think once. I went to Hess Village. It was probably one of the birthdays. What's it?
Turcados.
Yeah.
You know the Turcado sisters? Aaron and Amanda.
Dude, Hamilton's a big place. You know that, right?
She knows Ancaster. Ancaster's not big.
Yeah, I don't. The
Like
name
Nate-
is kind of
Do you
familiar,
know
to be
Nate
honest.
Farrow?
No.
He's pretty cool in Hamilton, I think.
Okay.
Well known dude.
George,
the best is when
these are
Rick-
people you need to get.
When
get
Rick knows
together
that
with.
somebody like says so, he tries to like he's done this before. He's like, well, do you know this person? It's like, man, like the place they're talking about is probably very large. I feel like you've done this before, or you start spitballing names or
I don't know. Like,
people.
if
I
you're
like it.
Let's say like
Keep
London,
going,
Ontario.
keep going. Who else
If
you
you're
got?
like a
Who else?
London local, I would be like, oh, do you know X, Y, and Z? And sometimes people are like, oh yeah, I do know them.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, fair, I guess.
You know what I mean? And Hamilton's smaller than London. No.
No,
Hamilton's a pretty big city, man.
no, I don't think so.
Hamilton, Ancaster, that area is pretty big.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did you like your time in Hamilton?
I did. I lived there for 7 years, all in, because I did 4 years at McMaster, and then I did 3 years at Mohawk College for TV broadcasting. And because I didn't want to give up my dream of varsity soccer and had eligibility left, so
Heck
went
yeah,
the
take
college
advantage,
route. Oh yeah, was a big kid on campus there. So yeah, I really liked Hamilton. I have nothing bad to say about it. Like, people give it a bad reputation, and I stick up for it, but I haven't been there in a while. So came back to Toronto and then lived here ever since. Still like just down the road from here.
Yeah. Whereabouts are you?
King of Bathurst.
Okay, I'm King of Spadina.
Did we just become best friends?
Maybe.
Rick's a big King Street guy. He will never move out of
Okay, well, I was
downtown.
just saying to George that I didn't want to move out of the city yet. I was in Liberty Village for a while, love it there, and then got kicked out, as most people coming out of COVID and their landlords moved back in, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, I didn't want to move out of Toronto yet, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to give it one more go in the wild city life before I
wild,
live
wild
out of
west.
this, move out of the
King
city.
West.
So yeah, that's where I am now, and still kind of exploring the area, but it's a time.
Yeah, I absolutely love King West. Like King West, Queen West. I walk like 2 to 3 nights a week in the city.
Nice.
And I do a nice little loop basically around this neighborhood.
Okay.
And I love it. I
What's
honestly
like
love
your
it.
go-to spot?
For what? Like eating, walking, drinking.
Oh, yeah, actually, yes, I want to
Yeah,
know
you're
where
like,
you walk
what's
to.
your
'Cause
like
that's
go-to spot? I was like, I don't
interesting.
know, like my walk.
Where
Rick
is your
walks
go-
everywhere. Like,
where's
Rick-
your go-to
Like
walking
this
spot?
this
Yeah.
week since Saturday. So not this week, but since Saturday, I've walked probably like running like 50K, 60K.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like to run, but
Saturday I did 22. Sunday I didn't do much. Monday I did 15. Just between like walking and running. I think yesterday I did a hand maybe like 10, 15.
wow.
Yeah, I love it. Love it. Yesterday I ran at walk.
we could tell you 50 in a week's a lot. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
love it. Love
Yeah.
it.
I did a 10K, the Sporting Life 10K on Sunday.
Mother's Day, yeah.
Mother's Day. Yeah, I couldn't walk for like 4 days after, but it was
That's one of
great.
the best runs 'cause it's like mostly downhill. It's so
know,
nice.
I think that's
and, like,
why.
And it's like
I
the
think
first. It
that's why it
starts off
hurt so
run
much.
season. They say.
Yeah.
It's like the first run of the
Yeah.
year, the good one.
Yeah. After I came out of treatment, I was like looking to get back into some type of physical activity. And as a soccer player, obviously running was, a safe place for me to kind of start. And so, yeah, I went from there. But that was my first 10K that I've completed. I haven't really gotten into the long distance part of it yet. But I mean,
Did he tell you about the marathon?
no.
which marathon?
The one that we kind of ran?
Oh, okay. No, I didn't.
Oh.
I thought you meant
mean,
coming up. Like,
tell
so
me.
I've come a long ways in my like junior high days. I run a lot more. The physique would not outline that I do, but shockingly, I'm a pretty good runner. I'm honestly objectively, I think I'm a pretty good runner. But so back in 2020, started running a lot. Like the whole COVID hit, I ran a bit, like 10Ks, whatever. I did a couple halves. Wasn't like running like to be great at it, but then the lockdown's hit and I was like, let me start running. And I was like, yeah, just picking it up casually. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I wonder if I could ever build up to a marathon. So I looked and found there's a marathon in Athens. It's like the original marathon where you go from the town of Marathon to Athens, old ancient Olympic Stadium. So for some context too, like if I'm going to do something like, sure, can I run the Toronto Marathon? Yeah, I could. But like if I'm going to do something that's hard, I want to do it somewhere cool.
100%.
It'll motivate me more. So anyway, signed up for it, was training. Like I got up through the summer up to like running, you know, most weekends, like on a Sunday I'd get up like up north and I'd go for like 30 to 35K. And like I was putting in pretty good times and I was like kind of getting there. But then the marathon got canceled. This is like in August. Marathon got canceled in November. And like my training kind of like fizzled. And then you were like, I said I still wanted to run it. And I was still kind of like, felt like I was in kind of decent shape. And it was November and the day of the marathon when it should have been, the weather was like amazing. Something. I was like 17 degrees in November. So midweek when we saw it was going to be good, I was like, you know what? Let's go for a long run that day. And Rick's like, I'll go for a run with you. And I was like, you want to run a marathon? And he's like, sure. On. But Rick's just the kind of friend that will just say yes to support a friend or just say yes to do something cool.
Just hang out with my buddies.
He had never ran more than 10K consecutively.
I did the half marathon the year before.
Okay, so
once.
My apologies. You ran a half marathon, but that year, like in the past 12 months.
There's training that goes into it, arguably.
Like
half marathon the year before doesn't really count.
No, not even close to peak. Like he's he is like of all my friends, probably the best. Well, is the best shape of anybody. Like you just pick up and run 10K easily. It's not gonna hurt you.
I can do it.
Yeah,
and you know what? You could do 21, and it's not gonna kill you. In my mind, I did 21. What's the difference? Fucking 42. No big deal.
It's a big difference.
I
massive
imagine.
Big difference. So we ran a lot of it. So anyways, we woke up in the morning. We just kind of mapped the route. So we went from King and Spadina to the east end, all the way across King. Then we went down to Eastern Avenue, from Eastern Avenue along the lake all the way down to Port Credit. So just like, we were like, it's sunny out. Let's just start running. So we started running at 9 a.m. And we ran the first probably, I'd say 10, 15.
Yeah, we walked the first like 2 or 3, then ran a good 10. Walked about 5.
But then we started like picking up, because I probably could have done 38-ish nonstop. I would have probably stopped near the end because I wasn't up there. But Rick had like, again, no experience. So he's like, yeah, let's walk a bit, run. And it was a nice day. So we weren't trying to like break a record. But I said, let's finish it in like 5 hours if we can.
Yeah. No.
By the end, when we got to Long Branch area, like Rick's knees were pretty shot. Like
I was like hallucinating.
Yeah, like, and I went to go like stretch at one point because we were stopping, and my hamstrings started to seize up.
Yeah,
luckily I was all right. But we just kept running, powering through for the last stretch up like Lakeshore to here, Ontario, where like my parents are. Rick, I thought he was gonna cry, and like
the sun's starting to like. It's at that point where it's not starting to set yet, but it's still hot, but it's like facing us, right? Because it sets in the west. And it's just kind of like beaming on us, and it's kind of chilly because it's only like 13 degrees at that point.
Right.
But the sun's still hot, so you feel the heat, but it's still kind of cold. I'm like, I don't know if I'm hot. I don't know if I'm cold.
Yeah, he was.
Like, I was like in a weird one. I'm like, in my head, I was like, okay, worst case, we just walk the rest of the way, right? The problem is,
big walking
you can't. Exactly, right? That's what I thought. Go. You can't walk because your feet, the bottom of my feet were.
He also wore the worst running shoes I've ever seen in my life.
Those were the shoes I wear when I ran the half marathon, right?
Like I buy, I don't spend money on like sneakers and stuff, but my running shoes when I run these, I buy like the best Nikes you can buy. Like
you have to.
My running shoes are like. I even bought like the newest ones that the Alpha Flies where they broke the record in the thing.
Oh yeah,
like $300. Like I bought them for the race to run. So like these things are not gonna hurt your feet. This guy's running in busted like $60 off the rack Nikes. I'm like, dude, you can't run in these.
Rack.
He's like, nah, it's fine. I have my insoles in. I was like, okay.
Yeah, that was.
Anyways, we finished it. Took 5 hours and a half. I think
5.5. Yeah.
Ricky has not been able to walk properly until like recently.
Yeah.
Which has been over a year.
Do you know what? So that was because it was November 14th. It was my mom's birthday. So even that day, like I went to my mom's surprise birthday party. Like,
wow,
still feeling all right. Like next day, worked out. I'm still okay. And it got cold again, so I'm not running and I'm not really walking. Fast forward like 3 months later, we're going on a ski trip. Like no big deal. I'm fine. Like my knees, they weren't bad, but they weren't like, I'm like, you know what? They're still maybe just sore from this because again, it's a lot on your joints. I went skiing. The second day I went off like a very little like bump. Yeah. Not even a jump. I called it a bump.
Yeah, he got off the chairlift.
Yeah, it was a bump, and I landed, and my knees, both of them, just like shot.
Stop.
And I was like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah.
So
Wow.
since then, yeah, I've literally, I walk a lot, but I just recently started running. So last Wednesday was my first run. And,
Nice.
like I don't even know.
What I like about that story is it tells me a lot about the two of you and your friendship.
Yeah.
Like now we don't even have to go down that road.
Yeah, I feel like
You
we just told a
wake up-
very long story
You wake
about
up one
running.
day and you just decide we're gonna run a marathon.
Yeah, we do some dumb shit.
That's wicked.
We do fun stuff.
That's
actually
definitely
think
not
that's
even close
such
to the
a-
dumbest shit we've done. Like we've done way worse.
We
This
we
is
just
good.
kind of like. Anyways, that was really random story. We've told it a lot on the podcast, but I guess like use some. We segued
Yeah,
off running.
Everybody's
and you're running.
already signed off.
But
But
anyways,
the
enough
marathon
about-
story again.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Enough about our running. Back to you did the 10.
Yeah.
Is that your first like serious run?
Yeah, that was the longest run I have done. I think in my life. Well, like probably
But soccer, you end up
in
running
games,
like 20K.
Yeah, you
or
run a
something.
lot.
Yeah,
For sure.
What
Yeah.
position were you?
So, well, when I played for McMaster, I was right back. But when I was in my prime at Mohawk, I played center field, midfield. Yeah.
Okay.
Crushing the
Yeah.
what's the league?
I
The
was
college
captain.
league?
No.
Oh
big-
no!
Okay.
Not a big
That's
deal.
why she went back to do another 3 years.
I know. Yeah, those were the glory years, I tell you.
Yeah.
College. Yeah, it's called the OCAA.
OCAA. That's
Yeah,
it.
Ontario College
Athletic Association.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's my running resume.
Okay. And
Since you mentioned since your treatment, you the first time like doing like a serious run and stuff, have you gotten back into like soccer and sports at all, or?
Yeah, I have. I mean, when did I start running? So I finished my treatment in May of 2020. And then I hit my remission, like official remission in June. And then that summer, like wasn't really cleared to do any obvious athletic activity yet. So then I started running in December. And then by February, I ran a 50K month, which, isn't a lot, but
No, it's just sick, yeah.
so I worked up to that. And then, now, I mean, more so beer leagues, if anything.
Yeah.
There for the beer, not the sports as much.
Fair.
But it's been nice to kind of find some normalcy, which I feel is for everyone. Like coming out of COVID, it's, there's not a ton of people who've been able to play team sports in the past couple of years. So yeah, I'm a free agent if that's why you're asking. I don't have a team yet this summer.
Fair. We wanted to make some. We wanted to put together an intramural team this summer, either soccer or
Yes.
softball.
I'm
but
so in.
I wanted to, but I sprained my ankle on Saturday at soccer. So I'm probably off. I'm out of commission for a little while.
you're on the IL.
And the reason
Yeah.
I even asked Ricky like which marathon is because I'm actually running the New York City Marathon in November.
Are you?
And I'm running the Toronto
Amazing.
Scotia Waterfront Marathon in October. And I was supposed to stop playing soccer this week because I didn't want to get injured in my
Right.
training. And the last week I was going to play,
As it
I
happens.
obviously sprained my ankle. So
Yeah.
no soccer for me, no running for a little while, no walks with my pal Ricky on the beach.
Circling back to where
There you
your
go.
favorite spot in the city is to walk to.
You're a big like downtown guy. You walk through King Street.
Yeah, I like King
We're
Street.
going to
'cause-
be seen.
No, some days I
Yes.
don't. Some days I put my
CNBC.
I like
Yeah.
to see people. I don't like to be seen.
Ooh, yes.
I don't like Queen as much as King. King's just a little bit cleaner than Queen. Sometimes I find it's more narrow. Sometimes more foot traffic too, so it's not as nice to walk. One area I really like to walk is the stretch from University in King to like Blue Jays in King. That stretch is not as busy. You have Royal Alexander there. You have Roy Thompson. Just some cool looking buildings and stuff. So I really
Cool.
like that little like kind of 1 kilometer stretch. The part I hate the most is just I hate the bridge at King and Dufferin and Queen and Dufferin.
okay.
Do you know the train tracks?
Yep.
I hate going underneath that, so I'll avoid that at all costs.
Yeah.
Weird phobia.
It's not. It's just like I just think it's dirty underneath there.
Train
Yeah.
track phobia.
Ugh. It's like there's always leaks and it's always wet, and then your shoes get wet, and then you kick it up,
And then your
shoes get
walk's
dirty.
ruined, and then you have nothing
I gotta
else
go
to do
home.
with your day.
Then I gotta go home.
Yeah.
I can't do.
But you're also scared the bridge is going to collapse on you.
No, I don't. I'm not worried about the bridge collapse.
Isn't that what you said when you went on a walk last
No, I
time?
said it's always gross down there.
I thought you said you were scared. Anyways.
No, bridge ain't gonna
Anyways.
collapse. I want to ask. You mentioned that you're not cleared to do sports after when you're in remission. Why is that?
So, for the type of cancer that I had, I was diagnosed in 2019 with Hodgkin's lymphoma. So, it's a blood cancer. And
Sorry, is non-Hodgkin's Hodgkin's lymphoma more dangerous or more severe than Hodgkin's lymphoma, or which one's?
Yeah, so I would say
I don't
like
want to say which one's worse. Like they're obviously both bad, but
yeah,
which one's worse?
The non-Hodgkin's lymphoma is a more aggressive or a more rare form of it. But like there is lots of advancements that have happened with blood cancer. So there's 5 different types of blood cancer. I don't know if I can name them all. Here we go. We're going on the spot, but it's like the lymphoma. So the different types of lymphoma, leukemia, myeloma, leukemia. Anyways, 5 types for sure. Stop it.
We got 2.5. We got the hang of it. Okay.
Got halfway.
We got the hang
I mean,
of it.
I put myself on the spot there. I was going to call you out for doing that, but that was all me. So lesson learned. 5 different types of blood cancer. But yes, non-Hodgkin's is the rarer form. Okay. So I had Hodgkin's lymphoma, and then within Hodgkin's lymphoma, there's all different types of it and different staging of it. Okay. So I had nodular sclerosis.
Which means
it was in my lymph nodes. So I had a lump on my neck, which is how I discovered it. It was like a massive lump, like it looked like a little golf ball on the side of my neck.
It just happened one morning. You woke up and you noticed it.
I mean, for me, it did. It was a tumor that grew over time, and they typically do show up in your neck for Hodgkin's lymphoma patients or anyone who has Hodgkin's. And I mean, for me, it happened one morning.
Sorry, you know what's random? I actually knew that because when you go to the doctors, the first thing they do is they check your lymph nodes.
One of those, yeah. It also is one of the most common cancers that you can get, especially for young adults. And
is it more prevalent in men or women, or is it just
no? And that's the crazy thing about specifically with blood cancer and Hodgkin's lymphoma is there's no rhyme or reason to it. Like I remember one of the questions I asked my doctor was, you know, why me? Like, did I do something wrong? Full transparency, I was like, I partied a lot in university. Is that why? I swear, I was like, is it
because I was the captain of the soccer team? This is payback?
Yeah. I did 7 years. Like, that's a lot of nights out. And he was like, you know, Shari, if all of the people who drank in university got cancer, I'd have a lot of people sitting in my office right now.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, phew. So I can still drink.
I feel like that's probably and I don't know, but I feel like a lot of people, their defaults like, did I eat too much McDonald's?
Totally.
Did I eat too much after I went to the bars? Like you would think about, I guess,
the
all
microwave
the things
too
you
much.
did in life.
Did I watch popcorn in front of the microwave too much?
You probably do it regularly.
Did I have the laptop on my my lower abdomen too much? Like,
yeah, no, for sure. So that's like your head does go there, and I woke up one morning, lump on the side of my neck, and the next day I was leaving to go to LA because we had a restaurant opening there. So I was going down to do an extended stay to help open the restaurant in downtown LA. So I was like, you know what? It could be a million things. Obviously, cancer is the last thing on my mind. It didn't run in my family. Like I've also been a very healthy, athletic person aside from my weekend drinking. Obviously. But yeah, so that was not on my radar whatsoever. And I went to LA and I was there for 3 weeks. And I just remember like the size of the lump staying the same. It was on the side. My energy was getting super low. That was when I noticed my loss of appetite. And looking back, I was super skinny at the time. But it's just so funny. It's like little things that as a young adult, you don't have on your radar. You know, what are my energy levels? How much am I eating every day? And I work in a restaurant. So I'm on my feet 24/7. So obviously being tired was something that I just thought was normal. But when the lump didn't change in size and it was constantly there, I knew something was wrong. And so I went to my doctor coming back, and within a week, he was sending me for blood work and to have ultrasounds to get cells taken from it, a biopsy. And that was definitely like the toughest time, was kind of the waiting, because you're like, what is going on? And your mind goes to really scary places.
You're on Google. Obviously Googling the
WebMD,
that's this guy will tell you he's dying once a month.
Yeah.
A bit of hypochondriac at times. Not as much anymore.
Before it was crazy.
Yeah. But you still
George stubs his toe, notices the nail looks a little weird. Hey, man, I don't know. I Googled this.
Okay, that's
I'm
not
kidding, I'm
okay.
kidding. I'm over-
George is gonna be like
I'm
feeling
exaggerating.
for like lumps tomorrow. He's gonna be
Honestly,
like,
I used to be a lot like that. Not as much anymore. I'm like,
I
whatever.
actually
If
kind of remember that about you.
Yeah, I used to freak out about it. I mean, I still in my head about everything, but I'm always trying to convince myself that like this is an irrational thought. Don't worry.
Yeah,
Don't call Ricky.
yeah, but
Just call Becca and ask her.
yeah, exactly. But
Um,
I mean, for me, it was, even if it was cancer, like my mind also went to, you'll just get a surgery, get it taken out, or even when I knew it was cancer, it was like, oh, well, we'll just, there's chemo pills that you can take. Like, I didn't think that I was going to have to do the whole losing the hair, all of it. And to answer your question, so circling back again, the reason why I couldn't do physical activity is because when you have a blood cancer, it can be anywhere in your body. So it's not like it can be targeted chemo, targeted radiation, targeted anything. It's cells that are in your blood that are circulating throughout. So my cancer had already grown. I was a stage 2 from my neck halfway down my chest. Hodgkin's lymphoma grows down. So that's how they stage you, is based on how far it's grown down in your body. And so I was a stage 2 and
sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good.
So stages is based on what % of your body it kind of covers?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So stage 1 is neck. Stage 2 is down to like the bottom of your windpipe. Stage 3 is starting at your esophagus and going down. And then stage 4 if it's anywhere past your stomach. So it can even grow all the way down into
And there's
your
4
groin.
stages?
Yeah.
Okay.
4. Wow. Yeah. So, and then treatment for Hodgkin's lymphoma is very advanced and very effective. So you do a chemo cocktail, they call it, which is...
Is that like an actual thing?
It is, yeah. They call it chemo cocktail, which for someone who enjoys cocktails, I was like, okay,
That sounds fun.
here we go.
Had a few of these.
Yeah, I can do this. So they mix 4 different types of chemo drugs into you. So it's called A, B, V, D. Each of them stand for a different drug, and some of them get injected like in your veins. Some of it is a drip bag, and so based on your staging is how many rounds of the chemo they suggest that you do. So for me, I went in thinking I would only do 4 rounds because I was only a stage 2. However, at the halfway point where you have a scan done, they found a spot that lit up in my groin, which wasn't there before. So we had concerns that I wasn't responding to the chemo. So then I had to do the full 6 cycles, they call it, which was 12 doses.
So
How far apart are the doses?
14 days.
Oh, so it's pretty like...
Yeah. So you go in, every 14 days. You do day 1, day 14. So, it was interesting because chemo sucks, period. It was not easy, super difficult. But you would get better. Like, I would call them my off week was, I felt good. Yeah. I mean, I had some other cocktails during treatment. Like, you need to do what you got to do to stay mentally, like, I would feel good. And I would like celebrated my 30th birthday, celebrated Christmas. Like, I was still able to try and maintain a normal life. Yeah. So I did 6 months.
Oh, 6 months
of chemo. But it was a year. It was a year pretty much from start to finish, from my diagnosis to remission.
Did you? Sorry, George.
Go.
Do you feel it when it happens, like the IV, the cocktail thing, whatever?
Yeah. So
What's it feel
I had they put in a PICC line, which like went in here, and it lived in me the whole time I was in treatment. So I did 1 dose where I tried to do it through my veins because I didn't want to surgically have the PICC line in, and it's tough to shower. It's kind of a pain. And the 1 dose, my first dose, was probably one of the worst ones because it burns. Like it's chemicals essentially going in to kill everything in your body. So that's the reason why you lose your hair, is because the chemicals go in to kill the fastest reproducing cells in your body. And the fastest reproducing cells are your cancer cells, your hair follicles, and your mouth cells.
So what's it do to your mouth then?
I'm
sorry if I'm stepping over any lines.
No,
feel free to.
I'm an open book, literally.
She
open
posted
book.
this all on most. All of it.
Pretty much all of it
media.
on social. And it's good because I find a lot of cancer patients do reach out to me and they're like, ask exactly what you're asking right now. And I love, being able to share some of it because I found a trick online that really helped for the mouth thing, where if you chew ice while you're in treatment. So there's one of the ABVD that we call the Red Devil, and it's a red one, little bag, and that's the one that goes in and kills. Like, it's the most aggressive one. So people who have breast cancer have it. A lot of different types of cancer patients also get this chemo. And so I chewed ice during that one going into me. And that's the one you feel. Like, you can just feel it. It's like warm, but it's difficult to even like think back to that one, because to this day, it makes me nauseous to think of that one. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
What's it like? Okay, so you said it kind of burns. For, again, majority of people that will hopefully never feel that. What's it like feel like? What's it like a comparison? It's like a heartburn, but like your whole body?
Yep. Yeah. Heartburn. Like when you drink a really hot coffee super quick and you're like, ooh, that's hot.
Oh, like it when it like
yeah.
pushes, like
you
chug
can,
cold water.
Like I could
kind of...
feel it going like in to like, you can feel it the whole way type of thing.
Wow.
And then, yeah, the aftermath of chemo, I mean, I had it down to a science. Mainly weed gummies were great to help. And I literally, like, full transparency, tell every patient, I'm like, this will help. And luckily in Canada, you know, legal at the time. So my family and I got real well versed in that world, because it like takes away your ability to eat. So like, obviously when, you know, you're taking different meds and then you have to be on steroids. So you have to be on a lot of different pills on the side. But the aftermath of chemo like really does feel like the worst hangover of your life.
Aftermath meaning like just after each session, or like yeah
like the first, like the 48 hours after each.
And even
each
someone
session.
like you who was like obviously you know, an athlete and in really good shape, like did you know how they say you feel like lethargic and all that stuff, like did you really notice it?
Yeah,
like it just, no matter what, doesn't matter how good shape you are, like it puts you on your ass, so to speak?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I would like to think, and that's how I could see maybe if you were older it'd be more difficult, but it was interesting timing. My sister was on mat leave at the time with my niece. So she was less than a year old, and I would go over and spend a lot of my time there. And I would have like, I'd be out of breath trying to like pick her up or go for a walk or go up and down stairs. I mean, it wasn't to the point where I was like, I can't live my life. And I tried really, really hard. Like, I believe mind leads body. And so I tried really hard to work on my mental state during that time and, you know, making sure that I was leading life in a positive way to kind of help with the experience. But yeah, you're tired for sure.
And the thing about taking steroids as well is that, like, what is the main thing? Is that to deal with like muscle atrophy or to give you like, what is the main purpose of giving you that? I mean,
so the steroids, and here's the thing, and you'll find I like bring a lot of dark humor into this, but so when I first got diagnosed, and again, I was trying to like keep a positive mindset, and like, as George probably remembers, humor is one of my defense mechanisms, or just like, it's who I am. So I remember thinking like, okay, this sucks. First of all, obviously got cancer, not good. But then I was like, you know what? Gonna be better by the summer. Like, my mindset was like, at the time, 4 doses. It was 6 months, but worst case scenario, 6 months. I'm back living my life by June, you know, and my mindset
Euro trip is getting planned.
Like, yeah, exactly. Remission trip. Here we come. Biggest party of my life once this shit's over. Like, I was like, this is great. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to be skinny, going to lose some weight, like hot girl summer. Here we come. The steroids. What a kicker that was, because they make you gain weight. Really? So in my treatment, I gained 40 pounds and I was like, what the heck? This is not what I signed up for. I thought at least one of the perks was that I could come out of this.
I mean, you would think too, because you lose like.
That's so crazy.
Right now, he's like, who is this girl?
No, I'm just thinking back because I don't want to say I haven't like an interest in cancer, but like there's so many celebrities and people who are famous and that have battled it. And Andy Whitfield, he was the main actor in Spartacus. That was a show that was big when we were around 3rd or 4th year university. He got diagnosed with it right when they started filming season 2, and I watched it because I was like, this dude's like jacked, superhero, Spartacus, whatever. And then he ended up like withering away to almost nothingness. Right. And that's why you say that. Like, I don't mean to laugh at all, but you're obviously like good spirits about it now. But he literally went from this honestly like peak GQ physique to literally looking like a grandfather by the end of it. You know, like Steve Jobs, what he kind of looked like at the end. It was,
totally.
Yeah, and you see it's like this guy went from literally like male model muscle man to like nothingness. So you say you gained 40 pounds. I'm like, what the fuck? Like crazy.
Well, especially when you say you have no, the appetite and all that stuff's hard. That's so interesting that it puts on that much.
Yeah.
I'm like sweating talking about this.
The steroids make you hungry, right? So
Is that its
part of the
purpose?
steroid is to make your immune system strong because your immune system's wiped. So I also went into chemo and I was halfway through when COVID-19 hit, which was also a treat because then I was basically completely immunocompromised, no defense mechanism, and the pandemic started. My hospitals had to change. No one could come into the hospital with me. I did every dose alone. I did my last dose alone, rang the bell alone. Like nobody could be there with me. So, and there's like, listen, there is a lot, I joke about it, but there is obviously a lot of people who don't have the same experience as me with it. And it's based on your type of treatment too. So particularly people who do go through my treatment, like they do gain weight and that's part of it. But it was also like a blessing to be hungry and like to be able to,
I'm like fucking tearing up right now just thinking about like ringing the bell alone. It's fucking sad.
Yeah,
You all right, man?
Man, it's those are the like you watch the videos online and you see them and like that's like
Rick's a big feels guy. He watches those videos like you'll message me I was just spent an hour crying in my car watching these like videos.
Like, I was in Scottsdale and I met this girl and we were like shooting the shit and she told me that she was a breast cancer survivor and she just got cleared on remission right before the trip. And I gave her the biggest fucking hug in the world. I was like, oh my God, like I don't know you but I fucking love you. I'm so happy for you, right? And then like I'm again big feels guy. I love watching the videos of people ringing the bell. And there's one that like I always look back to, and it's this like 15-year-old kid just like so happy to ring the bell. And I don't know, just you said he rang it alone. It makes me sad. Yeah,
it was. But you know what? One of the main things I learned from this journey was your.
Fuck, I don't know why I'm. Right,
it's first for everything on the podcast, man.
Yeah, I appreciate that because it is like it shows. I mean, blood cancer impacts everybody, and whether you've personally experienced it or not, it matters that people emotionally connect to it because it's a grueling and difficult fight for anyone to go through or to watch anyone go through. And for me, like one of the things I learned was also being able to find my independence in it because at the end of the day, yes, of course, so many people surrounded me with love and that helped me, but it was me, myself, and I against this disease. And yeah, ringing the bell was still emotional for me because even though I was alone, the nurses were there and they had become my family for the last couple doses. But yeah, and then my whole family was waiting outside the hospital and like friends and a whole group surprised me that day. And like that was when I broke down, was when I ran out and finally got to hug my mom because obviously like she was the one who I wanted to be there with me ringing the bell. So it was also a very special moment to like run to her and be like, yes, like I'm out of the hospital. It's over. Yeah. So
good for you.
Yeah.
I have to, I want to ask kind of the cliche question. Has it given you a different perspective on life or an outlook on life?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I really had to learn my independence in it. And, I really focused on what makes me happy. And I lived a lot of my life leading up to that in terms of like what makes other people happy, but it did. And even throughout the pandemic, it was interesting because I was going through it on a, exaggerated level, but I feel a lot of society learned some of those same lessons alongside me because a lot of people had things taken away from them. But yeah, like as I also went through cancer, I got divorced and went through a divorce. So if you think your 2020 was bad, I win. But
it's hard not to laugh at your jokes that way. But listen,
it's and I can joke about it now, but I'm proud of both of the decisions or like both of the kind of adversities that I went through to be sitting here today, because my perspective has completely changed in terms of fulfillment is in giving back to others. Fulfillment is in doing things that like genuinely make me happy and fill my cup up, because life is short. Life is short. And I promise you, the day I found out I got cancer and walked out of my job, like as much as I love my company and the people in it, my job wasn't on my mind. It was, where are the places I've never been to? What friends did I not spend enough time with? My family, like those are the important things in life.
It's funny you say that now, because it's not like, it obviously takes a monumental moment like that to realize. So many people get caught up in, you know, the nice cars and the nice homes, the nice things. But, you know, you always hear people on their deathbed saying, I wish I had more time so I could see my family, see the world, spend time with my loved ones. And
yeah,
fucking nailed it.
Yeah. And then it sucked because as I got out of treatment and everything, I was like, okay, like remission trip, here I come. And it was like, no COVID. Traveling. But again, perspective, I was able to go out west. I drove solo in a convertible from Calgary to Vancouver and got to see like the beautiful country that we live in. So yeah, I mean, I believe everything happens for a reason. And I also believe make the most out of what's given to you, because there's positive experiences to be taken no matter what situation you're in. It's how you choose to approach it and what mindset you choose to have.
We talked about it actually recently. It's always hard to say recently because I don't know what episode's coming out first, but we had friends of ours, the John Famous, they're a band, and one of the guys was talking about, you know, like, am I the only one that like looks at life like, oh, something bad happens, like I look at it in a good way? And we started talking about it a bit. And we talk about this a lot, but like bad things happen to everybody. And a lot of people say, you know, you sit back and some people say, well, why do bad things happen to good people? And look, like I just take the kind of victim approach to it. Like, why am I always the one that's you know, this stuff's happening to? And you know, there's people that live good lives and different good lives, bad lives. People have more difficulty. Some have more money. Some have more fame. Some have less this. But at the end of the day, like bad things will happen to you regardless. Bad is a relative term though. It matters how you look at something. Sure, things suck. You can lose a loved one. You can be faced with something that you didn't plan for and never expected would plague you, let's say. But it's all in how you frame things and your perspective. And no matter what, like again, very different circumstances, but if you look at the silver lining and everything, it's such a cliche to say, but it's so true. Is if you look at something saying, hey, like this sucked, but like, what could I do differently going forward? How can I help? You know, how can I help other people? You know, in this circumstance, like even just, you know, from your perspective, like sharing this, sharing your journey and everything like that. And, you know, hopefully it helped even one person kind of cope or deal with it. I mean, seeing that you're by yourself, maybe someone else by themselves that saw that, like there's something you can take, out of everything. I guess I'm kind of repeating myself, but yeah, it's pretty impressive how you the fact that you're in positive spirits. I'm sure it's a lot easier to be positive now coming on the backside, but even through it, like being by yourself, it can't be easy. And I guess good for you for like putting that whole thing into that perspective and trying to make the best out of it, out of a really bad situation.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. Adversity is a gift for sure.
Yeah.
And I look back and like I wouldn't change a single thing. And there's still obviously so much life to live.
Yeah.
So I'm very grateful that my perspective got to be shifted at 29 versus 79, 89, if I'm lucky enough. So yeah, it's been a ride.
Well, I'm
an old soul.
Well, it's interesting you say that, right? Like a lot, you know, you never want something to happen to you to make you realize something that you always could have realized. Like this is a very different circumstance. Like I'm not comparing this by any means, but you know, I said like I sprained my ankle on Saturday, right? And I was trying to scale back from soccer, and lately I've been seriously neglecting working out and all that stuff. And I kept saying, oh, I'm going to go and strengthen this and do that so I can get better at running, do this, do that. And sure enough, like I wasn't doing any of it. And as soon as I fucked my ankle up, couldn't walk, I thought it broke. I was like, I can sit here and complain about like this happening. It happened. How am I going to change it? You know what? Now I got to go back to the basics and build up. I literally can't run. So I have to do the thing that I wanted to do. And it's probably stupid that I had to let myself go through this to realize it. But that's another thing, right? You're given lessons in life. Again, not comparable, but just for perspective, to put it in context. You're given lessons in life, like not when you want them, it's when you really need to have them. And
definitely.
Again, you can look and say, well, this sucks. I lost a year, but there's like it just matters really what you take out of it. And like the saying that it's better like now than at 70 something. You could have just kept going on and not caring about the things that you otherwise would not have given you joy and happiness and fulfillment in life. But
exactly,
unfortunately, you had something that fortunately taught you something that is.
Well, it's like the Chinese proverb. I've said it so many times on this podcast, and it's funny because
it's actually really good. It's probably a good time.
I had never heard it until maybe 3 or 4 months ago, but now I think about it all the time. Okay, so it's a story about this old Chinese farmer. So this farmer's got a stable of horses. Or he's got a horse. So one morning he wakes up and the horse is gone. The neighbor comes to him and goes, "Hey, your horse is gone. That's so bad." He goes, "Maybe, maybe not." Well, the next day the horse comes back with 3 other horses. And the farmer's like, "Oh," the next door neighbor's like, "Hey, this is amazing. Your horse came back with more horses. That's like so happy, like amazing." He's like, "Yeah, maybe, maybe not." Well, the next day the son leaves off to the army. Or no, the next day the son is riding one of the horses, falls off, breaks his leg. The neighbor comes, "Oh man, that's terrible. It's so bad." He's like, "Yeah, maybe, maybe not." Well, next day after that, the army comes and says, "Hey, we're recruiting people. Oh, your son's got a broken leg. He can't go to war with us." So the neighbor's like, "Hey, that's amazing. Your son's not going to war." And the guy's like, "Yeah, maybe, maybe not." Might have butchered it a little bit, but you get the idea. It's like you don't fully know what's good or what's bad until you let it actually play out. And you see what really happens. Because sometimes something might seem like such an amazing thing or something so terrible. And in your case, cancer is no questions asked terrible, but you said it made you refocus your life, made you realize what's important in life. And again, that could have happened when you were 90.
100%.
It could have happened when you were 80 and you might have missed out on so many important moments in your life. Instead, it happened at a young age and you've overcome it and you got to realize how many amazing other things are in your life. So
it's one of the best stories, I think, too, because
it's crazy. I've never heard it until 3 months ago.
Since you said it, I'd heard it once. I've heard it once in Reddit somewhere. Or heard
you sent it
on
TikTok to me once,
and then I heard you say it, and just now I see it pop up everywhere. Yeah. But it's so true. You really going back to the thing about framing and perspective and all that stuff. It's so important to have, but it's also so important to have a mindset that you don't really get. That you're just kind of steady. Your mind has to be really steady and really strong and really stoic is I guess a word you can use for it. But something could be great and you could feel great about it, but you don't know if it's truly going to be great. It could turn out to be the worst thing. If something bad happens to you, again, if you react think, "Oh my God, my life's over. This is the worst thing ever. I'm going to lose my money or my house or my health." You just don't know until things pan out. And I think it is one of the most important skills for people to have is to be able to just have mental fortitude, I guess.
Yes.
Very hard to have in the moment. And again, there's circumstances that are very different. But those are also very different. Everything is very relative for people. I think health is the thing that across the board, humans would probably react very similarly. I'm sure if you polled everyone that had a reaction, found out, they had a diagnosis like that, it's probably going to be pretty consistently a hard thing to cope with in the moment. But some people lose their houses and lose this and lose that. And
and even in the way you're describing it in a relative way, the one thing that's consistent is that you control your mindset. And when you're in a position that I was in, which was I was losing control of everything in my life. My job was gone. My muscles were gone. I lost my hair. I had no control over anything that was happening to me. And for me, I found some type of solitude in, I control my mindset and nobody can take that away from me. Mm-hmm. And so I'll be damned if it's going to be negative or going to be something that, isn't inspiring for myself so that I can, lead my own way through this, but also for people who are following my journey and supporting me as well.
Mm-hmm. I think you nailed it. I don't need to say much more on that. People can't take your mindset and your state of mind away. And it's, again, I think a lot of people realize that as well as a result of the pandemic and all these lockdowns and stuff. You hope that almost all people could look at things objectively and say, "Wow, this is bad. Everything was taken away from this perspective. Mm-hmm. What can I do to fix that in the future so that doesn't happen?" And hopefully everyone, who faced something bad and affect them in an adverse way, appreciated that and said, let me take more control of my life rather than being motivated by, bullshit things, for lack of a better word. Because I think it's the most important thing. You only are as strong as you are, like, mentally, and how much mental fortitude you have, and everything else can be, everything else kind of, I don't know if relevant, but anyways.
Yeah. And I try to carry it still. Like, I had like a list of all these things. I guess that's like what they call a bucket list, but for me, it's just like, oh my gosh, like I want to go here, I want to do that. And so now every year I'm trying to kind of center myself back to that and be like, okay, what are some of the things that I want to make important this year or get done this year? And it's so easy to lose perspective, right, when you're out of it. So that's
what are some of them?
Oh gosh. Well, the main one is, I don't know why, I don't even have any tie to this, but I really want to go to Paris and see the Eiffel Tower. I don't know why, but when I was sick, I was like, I never got to see the Eiffel Tower.
Okay.
That's fair.
Okay. So I'm going in September.
Do you think people in Europe like, I really want to go see the CN Tower?
Honestly, Ricky, I asked myself that same question because I'm like, well, Cher, like you saw the CN Tower and that's pretty cool, but it's not the Eiffel Tower.
Is the CN Tower cool to Europeans?
I think it.
Probably, like it's probably kind of
what's
cool.
the big one in? What's the big one in
CN
New
Tower.
York?
The Eiffel
Empire
Tower
State
or
Building?
the
Empire State Building.
Yeah.
I feel like that's probably more of a bucket list thing for Europeans.
Totally.
I went there and I was trying to think if I went in when we were in school, but it was actually in high school. I went on a trip and I went to the Empire State Building.
Yeah, so that
It's not
I
that-
want to
it's
get
like
a
it's whatever.
tattoo.
Yeah.
I want to get a tattoo. I haven't done that yet.
You should do it right now after this. Go to Queen Street.
I wouldn't
Tattoo's like
know
the
where to
easiest
go.
one. You can do that anytime.
I want to get like right by my scar. But I don't know what. But
We have
I'm
plenty
also
of tattoos.
Yeah.
We'd be happy to advise
Okay.
you. Yeah.
Will you?
Yeah. We
Okay.
literally just
If
like
I
the
didn't
last
have-
month
if I-
we've
Pals
gotten
are
a
going to
bunch.
influence.
Yeah, if
my
I didn't have
tattoo.
something, I would go right now with you.
What's what? I'll ask the question back to you. What's on your bucket list?
I'll go. I can go. Do you want to go first?
No, I don't know.
My bucket list. It's this might be a boring answer, but like I am very grateful for the opportunities I've had at this point in my life, and I've been, I think, fortunate. I've been very fortunate that I believe in terms of experiences, I've lived as if I'm like in the point, let's say 0.1%. Not to sound arrogant, that doesn't involve money or anything. I've just like, I made a choice when I was in my late 20s to like, I didn't know where I was going with life,
you did
whatever.
your big trip.
And I went on a trip around the world. And for
Totally.
me, travel was the best. Like travel to me, even then, was never the most joy. So like I got to like not through travel, I got to experience and see insane things. As a soccer fan, you might appreciate this because I met somebody in Tanzania that introduced me to their friends in India. It allowed me to play soccer at Stamford Bridge where Chelsea play for a guy's birthday. And I played with Alessandro Del Piero from the Italian soccer team. So like, I just to give context, like
bucket list done.
No, like I'm just
kidding.
saying that because I'm trying to give context. Like when people say, "Oh, you don't have any bucket list things." Like there's things I want to do, but mine is strictly like,
But what's like
career
one
wise
thing
and
you
like
really-
family wise. Like like on my bucket list, like I want to build a great company. I want to,
amazing.
Have a family that I can give opportunities, more opportunities that I had. It's weird. It sounds like I don't know if that makes sense as a bucket list, but like most days I wake up and I'm like, is there somewhere I want to go, something I want to do, something I want to see? And I'm just very content because of things that I've got to do. And I'm very like,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know. That might be a shit answer.
George, as fucking weird as it is, that's my answer too. I couldn't agree with him more. Anything I want to do, bucket list, I go and I just do it.
But like the other thing too is like,
maybe it'd be nice to fall in love one day, like get married, have kids.
I'm sure you'll have that opportunity.
Exactly. That's why I'm like, not even rush. I'll chill.
But like I've always wanted to leave the city, and we talked about this just before we started, and how I'm like, I love Toronto, but I also have this like love-hate thing with it. We've talked about it a lot on the podcast. I used to like look for every opportunity to go on vacation and leave and experience something and see something and do something. I would want to go to like every Raptors game and every TFC. Like I just always wanted to be doing something.
Yeah, the experiences.
Right.
Yeah.
Material things, I used to like, I'd spend money on nice things I like, but never really moved the needle for me. There was one thing that I really wanted, was a nice watch. I got it for myself when I turned 30 because I thought I made it. Actually the first material thing in my life that really brought me joy. I don't like, you buy stuff and you're like, oh, I didn't really need this. And then you hate yourself for it. That thing, like till the day I die, will be the nicest thing I've got myself. But even now, like we went to a lot of sporting events. Like I look at like wraps. I'm like, I love the wraps, but like, do I really need to spend this money? Will it bring me that much more joy, or will I have enough joy sitting at home on the couch, reading a book or watching TV and just being like peaceful and calm?
Yeah,
I don't know if you get that from maturity and age. I don't know, but I'm really happy
like
doing
you're
nothing.
old.
Yeah. Yeah. See, okay. Towards the end, that's where I differ. I differ from George.
You lost me.
Yeah, but no, to what you said, I agree with actually everything. Like sometimes I don't realize things are on my bucket list until I do it.
Yeah.
Like the Great Wall of China, I never like.
That's cool.
It's cool, right? It's cool, but was it like it's on my bucket list? I need to see it. I was like, no, but like we're going to China, we have to go to the Great Wall. And then we get there and I'm like, this is the coolest thing. And still to this day, the coolest thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Really?
So it's like, if I hadn't already
bad.
been there, I'm like, that's on my bucket list, right?
But have
Like,
you seen the Eiffel Tower?
No, it's
Is
weird.
it
I'm not
sweet?
racist, but I just don't like the French. I don't
It's
know.
pretty cool. I actually were planning to go back. My girlfriend and I, we want to maybe go to Paris this Christmas, winter. See it at Christmas. I've seen it in the summer.
Yeah.
I
just
relevant.
wanna
I
do-
want to go to France. I want to go to
I
Europe in
want
the
to do
winter.
the like drinking the wine
Yeah.
on a blanket, Eiffel Tower.
It's cool. It's like
I
it's
don't know.
cliche. I've been there. I've had a baguette like hung out in front.
yeah, give me a baguette.
Yeah.
Give me some coffee.
France, it's
Rosé.
we've talked about it recently. Like when I went, it was my sister and one of her friends, and like I didn't love it at the time, but thinking back on it, I want to give it another shot. 'Cause they do think France is pretty cool. Like I've done
Yeah.
Paris and the south of France.
I
as
mean,
well.
I can't speak a lick of French,
Same.
but
It's a cool place. It's a good
Nonetheless.
bucket list. I mean, if you need a place
what's
to
the
add to your list,
reco?
my favorite place I've ever been that blew my mind was Petra, in Jordan.
Yeah, you said that.
oh, okay.
Petra, I've seen like again doing that through my travels. I got to see like every of the 7 wonders that is still around that you can, except like Atlantis or Babylonia, like the ones that exist, the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, whatever. All the ones that are around, I've
Yeah.
seen them. Like it's cool. Pyramids, cool. Acropolis, whatever. Petra is the most mind-boggling and mind-blowing place I have ever been in my life. It doesn't make sense like how it was built. I couldn't wrap my head around it because they're structures that are like monolithic structures carved into a mountain. So like my head's like, well, what if the guy was carving it and it broke? How did they get it
Or he
back
made a
up?
mistake.
Like they couldn't make a mistake. Like that doesn't make any sense. Which leads me to believe that maybe it wasn't built by me.
And that's the
but
same
not
thing
going
like
down
the
that.
fucking Great Wall of China.
I do.
I'm not going
We'll
down-
take that offline.
Yeah, I'm
That's
not gonna,
interesting.
I could go down that wormhole for a while, but I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I have weird thoughts.
It's like the
sometimes.
Great Wall of China is 20,000 kilometers long.
We went with our families too. So when I was
So
traveling,
who do you think built it then?
I don't know, but I honestly
Slaves.
I saw it. Like I saw the Petra, and I'm like, I even think about this when I see like at the Acropolis, you see like a statue of like Zeus, let's say. The marble is so perfect, and it's like, what happened to the bad one? Like it's all one piece of marble. What if you broke the nose off? Like they can't glue it on. So how did they make all these things so perfect? Where's the bad stuff? Where's the rough drafts? Where's the Petra rough draft?
You know what's crazy? Like
there's no
these guys,
Petra
like,
rough draft.
5 years.
The
Because it's
Petra-
like in a cave somewhere.
The Petra Monastery. So when we were there, there's like a bunch of like, there's the treasury, which is the one from Indiana Jones, and there's the tombs, and there's the amphitheater, and the last one, which is like a 10-kilometer walk, is the monastery. Picture standing in front of Scotiabank Arena. It is that big. Like it's like from Bremner, the Scotiabank Arena, big screen sign end to end. That's how big the monastery is. So that was
Wow.
carved out of rock by human beings. And like seeing that was mind blowing. The point of the story was, if you need a bucket list place to add, that
Okay.
Petra is
Sounds
awesome.
like a good one.
Petra's very cool.
I'm adding it.
Yeah, that's my
Done.
recommendation.
Tattoo's a little easier and cheaper.
Yeah. Okay. So,
So if we're gonna scratch one off this year,
Yeah.
we know we can do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
give me some ideas.
I mean, I want to get one more
Yeah.
thing. That's why I brought you on before we kind of get near it. You are nominated for an award. I don't want to butcher it, so I'm going to let you explain what it is.
Yeah. So as I came up to 2 years in remission, which will be next month, I wanted to, and part of my bucket list or some of my intentions that I was setting coming into the new year was just about giving back to the blood cancer community. And I felt like I was in a place to really like step forward, not just sharing my experience, but doing something about it. And funny timing, one of the past hosts one of the past captains of Toronto FC, Stephen Caldwell, participated in this campaign with Leukemia Lymphoma Society of Canada. So it's called the Man and Woman of the Year. And it's normally, people in the community that have some sort of tenure either with fundraising or with their careers, and they get nominated to participate. It's a 10-week campaign where you try to raise the most amount of money in Canada, and you compete against a bunch of different cities. In Toronto, there are 9 candidates, women and men. So I was nominated by Stephen and the LLSC, and obviously said yes to step forward and kind of give back, especially to, the research that went into the treatment that saved my life. So yeah, we have 2 weeks left tomorrow. It goes until June 2nd. And I have been raising money for the last 8 weeks just around the community. We've been doing a bunch of different events, and we have a couple of exciting ones coming up. So that's kind of what I'm up to right now. Yeah.
Very cool.
I love that.
Yeah. It's been busy.
And so you go up against 9 different individuals. When the person who raises the most is, I guess, nominated, wins
Man of the Year and Woman of the Year.
Okay, so in each side. And what is typically is there let's say over the years an average bar, or does it fluctuate as to how many, do people break the bank and raise tons and tons of money, or do you have a goal in mind that you need to hit?
Yeah, so last year the Man and Women of the Year both raised just over $100,000. So that's my goal.
Shit.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's
together 100,000 or individually,
each of them.
Jeez.
Mm-hmm.
Holy cow.
And unfortunately, I can't tell you where I'm at because it's a secret until the finale.
Do you feel
maybe we'll circle back. Maybe we'll do
absolutely
Pals Times Shari 2.0, and I'll have a tattoo by then, and I'll tell you how much I raised.
Or we'll get a tattoo artist to come on the show and tattoo you live.
Live.
Yeah, that'd be a crazy one. Are you feeling good about where it's at?
Yeah, I am. It's been very busy, but so rewarding, and just to see the community step up. And one of our main title event, I guess you could call it's called Beach Fest. So it's in partnership with One Volleyball, which is a league that's here in Toronto, Premier League. So the docks in Toronto, Ricky, I don't know if you've walked there, but it's beautiful views.
Great callback.
The docks.
That's good. I don't walk that far. A little
we ran by there during our thing.
During the marathon we ran.
Yeah. Okay, during the morning marathon.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's a pretty cool venue. There's the driving range there for the golfers, and then there's the beach court set up. So we're doing a volleyball tournament on Saturday, May 28th, and all the proceeds are going to my campaign, and it's the weekend before the campaign wraps. So it's kind of our last push to really, get to that fundraising goal. So it's we still have, so there's a premier division, the elite division for the pros that are actually good. And then there's, so it's Premier 6s, Premier 4s, and then there's a recreational division for people like me. You're going to be drinking beer, listening to the DJ, just there for a good time. Okay. So we still have some spots left open for that. So any athletes in Toronto.
Are you looking for a couple teams or anything like that?
Listen up, boys and girls. Let's go.
Well, we can put we can put the link in. Send me the info you want to put in. Or
what is it made to? We have a wedding.
That's why I was going to put a team in for us, but we have one of our friends is getting married that day.
So sad.
Because
what time is the wedding?
This stuff. 4 start.
Time's the event start?
9 a.m. Swing by for a morning beer. Bar is open at 9.
Honestly, we could probably make it happen. I did not put two together. We spoke with you and Jackie.
Well, you don't even have to play. You can just come hang out. I mean, we were trying to get George to DJ at it. We're like, what are the chances?
I said that you recently sold my DJ equipment. Otherwise, I would have been happy to.
I know.
Yeah, I love charity sporting events are my thing.
Well, yeah.
Well, if we come, we can probably play.
If it starts at 9.
If it's at 9, what time does it go until? What are the?
So and it is the playoffs are one and done.
We're probably not gonna make it.
I have a busted ankle. I'm gonna stand with a beer in one hand and hitting the ball with the other.
I forgot the best part. So we're actually, the prizes are pretty sick as well. So all of the winners in the division, thanks to the beer store, are winning beer for a year for every player on the team and $500 for the team.
Wow,
it's a pretty crazy prize.
Yeah, crazy.
I know.
Every player on the team
beer for a year. So it's probably like a 2 for a month or something. I don't know what a beer a year is.
It depends how much
a beer
you drink.
A day, basically, probably.
Yeah, beer day.
Even if it's a beer day, you're going to 365 beers. It's a lot of beers.
Just think of all the beers you could have for all of your Pals podcast guests.
Yeah, honestly, we might need that. We have no sponsor, no money, and
rent got raised.
We couldn't even offer water to our guests or coffee. We might need to go and try whether I win.
You owe me a beer and the city after this.
We should be able to. We have a pod that day, but we can easily cancel that or reschedule that.
So the rec league, how many on a team in the rec league?
6. And then you have to have equal amount of girls and guys on the team.
That's fine. We can.
But we also have, so anyone who does want to play, like even if they're listening to the pod right now and wants to reach out, especially in the rec league, we have a bunch of people who want to play but don't have the full team. So we've been like slotting people in on teams. Okay. And everyone who's coming is, great time there, obviously, to give back to an awesome cause. And then even at that event, we have some wicked raffle prizes. So we got Jays tickets, Toronto FC tickets. Just tons of great stuff. And then for the LLSC as well, there's also an auction happening from March 24th right up until the campaign ends. So that will be on the LLSC website, llsc.ca, but I can also send you that info.
What's the link for the volleyball tournament?
It's Beach Fest with one volleyball. So
Beach Fest.
So just Google it?
Yeah, you can Google it. I can send you the link.
We'll put it we'll put it in the show notes, and then we can also, when we share the episode.
It's on Facebook too,
we'll
Beach Fest.
So I always kind of squeeze this episode in now, obviously, and we're also going to release it Friday. What did we say?
I can't remember what we said.
Anyways, it's going to be released pretty fast, like the next couple of days.
Release.
So that way, people
whenever George remembers to get it.
Yeah. I'm the editor. I slack a little bit.
But yeah, okay. So for team registration, I'm assuming. I don't want to assume. How much is it?
Yeah, so it's $240 for the team.
Okay.
And then all the proceeds go to the cause. And then there's a cash bar there that's in support of the Docs, obviously, for being an awesome host. But you can make a donation, obviously, that you can get a tax receipt on at any time to my page as well. It's Team Shari for the Man and Woman of the Year with the LLSC. And then the raffle tickets will just be selling there. So it's also going to be a really fun event just to swing by. And
what time does it end?
9 to 5 p.m.
We could probably
if you're in the championship.
We're not going that far. We're like, listen, we're there. We just go to these things for a good time.
Bring what you can do is actually no, because it's at Hotel X, the wedding. So it's not like we even need to drive far.
Yeah.
I got
to run by the GF and see how she feels about it. But
because she's also a participant on the team.
She probably has to play.
We need her too. Yeah, her and Danny.
We need to start figuring out. My sister could probably play.
Your sister could play.
I don't know if she will, because the last time I had my sister come play for us for like a charity type event, it was a football thing, and I threw a past her and broke her finger and broke her ring finger.
Oh boy.
Yeah. It's just been she doesn't like me for that. So anyways, we'll chat offline. We'll see if we can get somebody to come out.
Sounds good. Thanks.
This
has been awesome.
It's been a blast.
Yeah,
thanks for having
really
me.
great catching up.
I really appreciate it. Yeah.
It was a fun episode. Best of luck with the campaign. We
Thank
hope
you.
You are the next Woman of the Year. And
appreciate it.
Best of luck in everything. Congrats on almost that 2 years of 2 years.
Yeah.
Mission.
2 years. Thank
That's
you.
awesome.
Thanks
Good
for
for
having
you.
me.
Awesome. No, thanks for joining us. All right. Cheers, guys.
Peace.
You like to drink.